That's right there. It's Arab Wrestlers You Should Know. I am Randy Ritchie. This is being sponsored by or brought to you by Premier Pro Wrestling. And today we're going to talk about Aaliyah. And in case you youngins don't know, that song is by one Donnie Iris. Donnie Iris, folks. All right, then. So, I learned a whole hell of a lot about Aliyah. And I actually am really glad that I'm doing these. You know, we did the Women Wrestlers You Should Know for Women's History Month. Women's History Month. Then we did Black Wrestlers You Should Know for Black History Month. And then we're doing Arab Wrestlers You Should Know on behalf of Arab American History Month or Arab Heritage History Month. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But it's so hard to find Arab Americans in the professional wrestling industry. But I'm figuring nobody has a problem commemorating or recognizing Arabs who are famous in the industry, man. And today we're going to talk about Aliyah. And what can you say about her? The beauty is unsurpassed, as you could tell by the thumbnail. Aliyah is a first-generation Canadian. She grew up in Toronto in a conservative Middle Eastern family. What a conservative Middle Eastern family is, folks, is pretty much old school, but we'll get to that later. In an interview with Bobby, whatever the hell, of WWE.com, she explained, "We had strict rules. There were certain things I couldn't wear. No boyfriend, strict curfews. They were hard on me about school. I had to get good grades." And her family couldn't have expected the path she would end up taking. Now, that being said, I mean, we've been talking about just what I'm going to go ahead and call extreme type Muslim beliefs. And again, this isn't me taking shots at Muslims, because there's a lot of charismatic and hardcore Christians that I believe get, the word pretty mixed up as far as I'm concerned, and they end up being a bad example for everybody. But the bottom line to it is, I don't believe God cares about how you dress or how you speak, but he knows what's in your heart and doing good shit. One of my favorite pastors has been a friend of mine for about 40 years now, Pastor Chuck. And he agrees with me when I say, and asked me if he could cite it, Jesus never said, "Swing from my nuts." He said, "When I go out there and do my bidding, do my will," which basically means be cool. Now, this is something I didn't know that you probably won't know. Back to Miss Aliyah. Aliyah trained as a circus performer during her teenage years. Her time on the trapeze may end up helping her in her current career. She's been impressively athletic, and I think that is the coolest thing ever. Coming from that background, this is obviously a girl who takes a lot of risks, and obviously a girl who loves to have fun. And that's a lot of it, man, that she ends up being daring. And daring is a very good quality in a person, period. But for me, especially a woman, and especially, someone that comes from such a strict background. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. Aliyah got slightly injured back in September of 2022. She claimed she was medically cleared in October the following month, so either 4 or 5 weeks later. She was out on that injury, and, WWE, people get mad at them, but the bottom line is, I was just talking to somebody about this the other day, they have a responsibility to protect their talent, being a publicly traded company, and it's good for talent, I don't know if you guys know this or not, if I've ever said this on, these shorts, but when I was in the Memphis territory, the USWA 1989 to off and on, I'm talking about 1989 or 1990, the guys that I was with wrestling 8 times a week, 50% of them died before the age of 30 due to the lifestyle and, painkillers and alcohol abuse, and part of that painkiller thing be dependent upon them is you can work to a certain point injured. Yes, we are athletes, but in the same token, nobody wants to repeat that history. So that being said, she said she was medically cleared to come back in October, November, December, one of those times, and this is funny to me too. She also professionally or whatever, not professionally, but she competes in horse riding. So that must be true because what she heard is something in the rib cage, serratus area, and riding a horse, man, that's something that's going to really knock something like that loose. So I'm sure she was 100% being able to get on the horse and having to be in that kind of pain. So it's been a bit of a stir-up, I guess, on the internet, specifically on Twitter, where, some of even the mainstream has taken notice of some of these threads and the fact that Aliyah hasn't been on WWE SmackDown in months, like I said, since September of 2022. Well, here we are in April 2023. We're just starting the new month, and the fans are starting to hit Aliyah up. And I'm going to read this to you guys. In a now deleted thread of tweets, Aliyah was asked about the reason behind her absence from WWE TV. While replying, she said, I don't know. A fan suggested that she do backstage shoots, and she reported by writing, if only I was backstage. When a fan commented on her possibly being in the 2K23, which I guess is the video game, she wrote, sorry to let you down, as a response. Now, I'm not sure which ones of these she's deleted and which ones she did. Like I say, I believe that the wrestling internet community is the innovator of fake news, talking about the Observer and the Torch, and I don't know which one writes which, but they've always been 30% wrong and go about it as fact and swear in their kids' eyes and whatnot about it. So there you go. I'm going to say this. So Aliyah, obviously, look at that girl. She's only 29 years old. So let's see, she signed with WWE 8 years ago. She was 21 years old. And I know for a fact that in 2015 when she was signed, that's when WWE realized that the young talent being 21 to 18, male or female, came with too much drama. It was too much drama that they didn't have to deal with, being the largest sports entertainment company in the world. So that her being there and passing that litmus test at 20 or 21, says a lot about her character. And once again, growing up in such a strict environment, she's really, really got to have courage, man. Courage, heart. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I know it doesn't sound good with as beautiful as this girl is, but she's got some Kong-sized balls. You know what I'm saying? As you can see. So she did some modeling shots, and what I'm thinking at this point, to be honest with you, Aliyah's beauty, may transcend world wrestling entertainment. Do you understand what I'm saying? So at this point, she may not be that concerned about going back. However, she's still under WWE, contract. I don't know for how long. I, for the life of me, couldn't find it. And if you guys can find it, maybe post it in the comments. But I can't see when her contract expires. But you've all seen this before. We've all seen this before. And they've got so much going on and so much on their talent roster and so much going on behind the scenes, i.e. UFC/WWE partnering up now, that they're probably not paying attention or as close of attention to a lot of talent, not just Aliyah. But in the same token, I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of things out there as far as food for thought goes. So I guess Aliyah is pretty trafficked on social media. Why wouldn't she be? Her attitude seems cute, and she is just an exceptionally beautiful human being, okay? So that's marketable in anything. But, like I said, the looks, she's just beautiful. She could model, she could act, she could even appear, she could make a lot of money. Maybe that's what she's thinking. She is extremely athletic. like we said before, we're talking about trapeze stuff. I mean, talk about high risk, living on the edge, extreme sports, man. I want to see some of these extreme sports kids go out there and do that trapeze. That is some nerved up shit to be taken in as a hobby, right? She's innovative. I did see a few of her matches and I didn't really pay attention much before, not because I'm an asshole, just because I'm so friggin' busy. She's innovative. She came up with some amazing little things, the intangibles that, you know, people that are at the top of the roster past the mid-card on SmackDown and Raw possess. So she's got a really good creative mind. Her ring presence, I mean, you know she's there. She's undeniable in said ring. You know what I'm saying? And that is just undeniable. But what I'm going to say is this on the critique part of this, and I feel fine saying it because she's still young in the industry. We used to say that the first 10 years in the industry is when you learn the craft, and then the next 10 years is when you make money. She's not at that 10-year mark yet. She's actually at the 8-year mark. And this is what I'm talking about because I don't know her. I can't say for sure. But my hope is that because she has all these other awesome qualities for my industry or our industry, that she'll, listen, that she can still listen and learn and love the industry, But she needs to tighten up a bit because the women's wrestling now, and it's not just Ronda Rousey, I'm saying people that aren't UFC or MMA standouts like Ronda Rousey are believable as all hell and probably more believable than the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. Watch Raw, man. Watch those knockouts. Watch the women's wrestling matches, man. So, that being said, Aaliyah needs to snug up a little bit. Work a little tighter, work a little rougher. There's a difference between being stiff and manhandling somebody. And if you know this craft, which it is an art, you can manhandle people and not do any permanent harm. Meaning, i.e., they're not sore the next day, sore enough to where they can't go to the gym. Also, everybody take note of this. Now that UFC and WWE are into this gigantor partnership, which will be a success, a gigantic success, it's going to add one hell of a lot of credibility to WWE. And I think not just Aaliyah, but many people, most people, 85% of the industry really needs to learn to wrestle. And if you don't know how to wrestle, you better look like you know how to wrestle. So, I'm not burying Aaliyah like the internet likes to say. Maybe if she stumbled across this and heard it and heard the way I'm saying it, she realized I'm not being an a-hole. I am a father with 3 daughters, so when I do say things like this, in my mind, I imagine I'm talking to one of my daughters. I'm trying to be straightforward and honest, but be constructive instead of destructive. Those are the things that she would need to do. And then the last suggestion I would make is, since she is so prominent on social media and she knows by now, working for WWE since 2015, there's a whole slew of people that may be legal, may be whatever the hell, may just be stooges. They watch their social media, study their social media, and that thing is what I'm talking about, is that Leah should be posting more if she wants to continue with WWE, more of her working out in a ring and working out in a ring or in a wrestling setting and doing drills and whatnot with other people, i.e. Liv Morgan and girls like that. Because I know what's going to happen, and I'm going to go out on a limb and predict this now. When they have had someone on the shelf before, which is very common, it's not uncommon. Let's not say it's very common. It's not uncommon. What they end up doing is a lot of people have been in that, where they get that injury and then coming back from said injury, they're cleared. And then out of sight, out of mind, if you're not doing those things, like I says, to show them that you're in the ring, doing drills, wrestling around, you know what I'm saying, on your social media, that's what you actually do in your off time, you know what I mean? But what they're going to do is say, okay, her contract's coming up. Let's put her on TV. She's recognizable because of all the investment that we have in her, and see how she does. And when they go out there without timing, then the decision makers, and it's not always a McMahon, can say, well, she didn't really step up, so let's let her go, And they've done that stuff before with a lot of people, including, now this is what I'm going to close with, including Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, who were smart enough to go away and come back at 35 or older, and now they're bigger stars than they were, and on top of that, they're making the company 3 times the money they were, and they're also making 3 times the money that they were making personally, with their time away. So it's all a process, but I'm just stating the obvious and saying what I actually know, about the wrestling industry. Honest to God truth, folks, and you can set your watch to it. This old statement, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Once again, in no way, shape, or form would I not respect Aaliyah. I respect her even more, knowing all that I know, and the bullet points, especially to me, are the risk-taking, the wanting to have fun, and having the balls enough to do so and express herself in any way, shape, or form when she wants to, when she was censored in her youth. Okay, guys, this is Arab Wrestlers You Should Know. Once again, please note there are no YouTube commercials on here, so at least have the decency to like and subscribe. Feel free to comment, and if you want to support Premier Pro Wrestling, the links are in the descriptions.